Hello. Hello, welcome to Everyday Ordinary Extraordinary Men. I'm Martina and I'm here with Christina, and we are deep divers and avid students of life and powerful facilitators for healing. In real life, I'm a life coach specializing in parent and women empowerment, and I'm also a sound healer.
And I'm a massage therapist, intuitive healer who loves to blend energy work to provide customized holistic services for my clients. Martina and I both love to incorporate crystals, essential oils, angelic Reiki, intuitive guidance, and working with oracle decks into all of our work.
So let me tell you about the context. Most humans have a lot of preconceived notions and stereotypes about gender. For example, men are tough and silent and forceful, and women are chatty, manipulative, and emotional. And what happens when we do that is that we put people in a box and often forget to see beyond those labels. Now, if someone is not fitting the mold, we might call them a tomboy or a sissy. And those in similar labels often cause discord. What will the world look like where we go beyond our preconceived notions and understand that we are so much more than our gender? That we humans are strong and soft and gentle, deep and powerful, tough, fierce and open, and the qualities are not specific to a gender. That we all have all qualities available to express. What will the world look like where we all are free to be who we choose to be and express all of our emotions? When we allow ourselves to express the so-called masculine and feminine qualities within ourselves, we set ourselves free. When we allow others to do the same, when we accept all of them, we create synergy, peace, and harmony. And today, we're here with Kevin. Kevin, welcome. Thank you for being here. Just tell our listeners who you are.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting me here. My name is Kevin. I am a father of 3 children. One is a young adult out on his own, and the other 2 are teenage daughters, occupying most of my time and have made me into a shuttle bus driver. I am partner to a wonderful person named Amy, both of whom you are familiar with. I think an overall description would be I am a healer and a civil servant. I'd say my entire career since I've been out of high school has been in the a servant to the public for whether through military and then EMS and then through nursing for the last 20 years. And then in addition, my side interests in stuff like Reiki, and I had obtained my Reiki 3 at one point. So I've had a continued interest in our modern Western medicine modalities for healing, as well as Eastern and more non-traditional. So I have very interest in that whole field as far as health and healing. And also a musician, and I play bagpipes for a police band here in Connecticut. And my daughter, and that's a family thing. So my daughter plays, and my dad plays, my brother plays. So it's been a family tradition thing. And I live in the Burlington, Connecticut area. I live up in the woods and like it very much. So by the bike trails and lots of hiking and so on, lots of outdoor stuff. So that's a big part of me as well, the access to the outdoors. So
Beautiful. So you have like the whole gamut, right? You
yeah.
have nature to nourish you, and so you can help take care of people. I loved that you didn't say alternative medicine, because the alternative medicine actually was around before the Western medicine. I so appreciate that. You know, it's really beautiful and such a powerful combination, right? It's like you have the creative part, you have the outdoorsy part, you have the nurturing part. It's Just beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for being here. So, Kevin, if we really knew you, what would we know about you?
Calm and kind,
Mm.
and I've been told I bring peace to wherever I am at. And what else would you know about me? Funny. I like to joke a lot. Sense of humor and bringing levity into situations is how I cope. And that's always been a coping skill of mine. I've learned at a young age. So, and that one's stuck with me through the good and the bad. Yeah, kind of empathetic, compassionate. I'm a good listener, which has helped me a lot in my career and the role that I've had in nursing. Makes me a good dad and a good partner. So.
I love that.
Yeah. My mom was a nurse also, Kevin, and I would say calm, kind were definitely her biggest traits, right? Like she just led with her heart, and I think to be a really good nurse or probably EMT, you have to be calm and kind because in those chaotic situations, if you are not calm, it's not going to go really well for you, is it?
Right.
And you set the tone for everybody else too. But then having a sense of humor also gets you through those times too. So I can see how they all work well hand in hand.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, the sense of humor is just something so beautiful because laughter is healing, right? And
Yeah.
laughter just releases the pressure and releases stress. But often, like, I know for myself at least, like I can get really serious and significant, right? Rather than make a joke about it, right? And
Right.
just lighten the load because laughter also helps you take deep breath, which
Mm-hmm.
that in itself is just like it brings you to the present again. So that's so beautiful. Oh, and what I wanted to say is, so Amy was on the women's podcast. So if you want to go listen, go check her out. She is an everyday, ordinary, extraordinary woman. She's on that podcast. So, and she painted mandalas. It's just really beautiful.
She's an amazing woman.
She is. Her work just gets more and more extraordinary as you follow along. It's just, she blows my mind with every piece she posts. So yeah, definitely
Yes.
check out Amy's work.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about laughter, tell us a funny, silly, or embarrassing story about yourself.
Something funny or embarrassing. So I have the tendency to kind of be a space shot sometimes, and just like I'll be present in the situation, but like not recognize clues and things that can be just, I have multiple tabs open in my head at once, so my attention span can be fun. One experience that I thought was pretty funny and a little embarrassing, but it was funny overall. I was at a hotel in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, passing through with kids, and I was down in the lobby. My youngest daughter, she was about 3, and she was full of energy, just zipping around, and it was too much energy for a small hotel room. So I brought her to the lobby, and she's just pulling laps through there, running around, being cute, and the elevator door opens, and this woman gets off the elevator, and she just stopped. Like, everyone stopped and looked, and then my daughter stopped and looked, and then she comes off the elevator, and my daughter comes out, puts her arms up, and she's like, "Oh my goodness!" So she picks her up and she gives her a big hug, and I'm like, "Oh, it's so great!" And I said, "Thank you for hugging my daughter." And like, she's a hugger. She's a love bug. She still is. And so the woman was, we got to talking, and she asked what I'm doing in town. I said, "I'm passing through." And she said, I said, "How about yourself?" She's like, "Oh, I'm going to, I'm playing at a concert over here." I was like, "Oh, that's exciting." The reggae festival. I was like, oh, that's great. She's like, are you going? I was like, no, unfortunately, I'm going to head back. I think we're going to look around town. She's like, well, I can get you some tickets if you'd like to come see. I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, what's the name of your band? What's your name? And she's like, oh, my name's Chili. I'm like, Chili? That's an interesting name. I'm Kevin. And I'm like, what's the name of your band? She's like, TLC. She's like, TLC. I was like, the Learning Channel? She's like, no, the TLC, the women group, the three of us. I'm like, TLC, it's not ringing a bell. What did you sing? And she's like, are you kidding me? And I start laughing. I'm sorry. I'm like, just remind me. And she's like, don't go chasing waterfalls. You know, I don't want no scrub. I'm like, oh yes, yes. I'm like, I'm sorry. She's like, you don't know. I'm like, I remember now. I'm like, I just, you know, I'm kind of an NPR guy. I don't listen to that much. So it just, you caught me off by surprise, you know, and she's like, NPR guy. And then she carried on with that. So it was a funny experience, lots of laughing around along with the crowd around us until I recognized who she was, you know. So then I got a photo with her. But it was a lot of fun. It was funny.
It must have been quite refreshing because I'm sure she just gets bombarded by fans all the time. So to have someone who had no idea who she was, it's probably really
Yeah, I
cool.
was just having a conversation. She was a nice person.
Well, it also might be a kick to her ego, right? Saying, why is he not recognizing me, right? It's like, it could be either way, right? But
Right.
I love that you said, you know, like you have many tabs open in your brain, right? It's like, it's a cool expression because we all do, right? It's like, we're in a different world.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So, what makes you come alive? What are you passionate about?
New experiences,
Mm.
including learning, you know, so whether it be getting out and exploring and doing something new and sharing that experience. I mean, I love to have the experience, but sharing it is even better. So I get to do, because I've done a lot of neat things, I feel, you know, I've been had a very adventurous life during the first 30 years. So it's fun to experience these things again with, like, through my daughter's eyes and with Amy, to share some of these things that I thought were really fun to see and do. So, and I love learning new things, learning new hobbies and sports. That's always been infamous for that, I guess. All these hobbies. I have a lot of interests, so like endless, boundless interest in learning new things. So, and my older daughter has that. I see that she's got that drive as well. So she's gonna have a garage full of all kinds of gear from interest over the years. But doing things with my children, yeah, doing things with Amy, and just doing things with people I love. So I've really kind of narrowed it down to you know, the most important things.
Yeah.
It only took me to the end of my 40s to start figuring things out.
I think it was the Carters, Jimmy and Rosalind Carter, somewhere in his, I don't know if it was when he was governor, they decided they weren't spending enough time together. So they made a pact that once a month they would try something new. And they found out they both had a love of fly fishing out of this, and fly fishing became one of the things, but they would try dance classes. It's just once a month they tried something new. And I just loved that idea of just kind of setting a date to do this together with your partner. I don't know, just I love the idea. If a politician can find the time to do that with his partner, I think the rest of us can, right?
Yes, you got to make the time.
Yeah,
well, it's the curiosity, and the curiosity brings more space, right? Because growth makes us expand in a way, which is really, really beautiful. Really beautiful.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good for you. And you know, as you were talking about, you know, like you have a whole garage full of stuff from your daughter, right? It's like, for me, it's like I have plenty of things where I think it's a good idea, right? And so I start collecting for that good idea, but I have no intention. Like I like the idea, but the following through is a completely different story, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so I've got this, I'm gonna give it away. I bought, I think during COVID, I bought one of those sauna sheets, so the sauna beds.
Yeah.
Uh, like it looks a little bit like a sleeping bag where you go inside. And I have used it once, and so I gave it away because I was like, it sounded like a very good idea, like a very good idea. But then the execution is a different story. So so I get it. I get it. But it's curious, right? It's like it's cool. Oh, I want to try that one. How about
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I guess we're lucky to have the opportunity and the privilege, right?
Yes.
To be able to try. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
To try things and just
But if you don't try, you don't know if you like it or not. So
exactly.
you gotta give it a whirl.
Yeah.
Eventually you find something you like eventually.
Yes.
So what would you say your superpower is, Kevin?
My superpower. Um, my empathy and my calmness, my external calmness.
Mm.
Um, yeah, just my ability to just be quiet and let the other person speak. And try to imagine myself in their shoes and what they're dealing with. So that's a culmination of many different things I've tried to learn throughout my life.
Yeah,
So,
beautiful.
but again, it works. It works better with my partner and my kids, and anyone I'm dealing with to, do that. More effective communication. Sometimes.
So you said, are you saying that your inner world is not a reflection of your outer world?
Oh yeah, not always as far as calmness.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can appear calm on the outside even though there's chaos inside.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've been that's sometimes it's a struggle and sometimes it's manageable. That's been something I've been dealing with for a long time. So
On one hand, I think it's quite cool if you can portray that, right? Like that really like that outer calm, even though everything is going crazy. And on the other hand, I imagine it's quite challenging because you have to manage your inner world as much you have to navigate the outer world as well, right?
right. Yeah, it's been difficult. It's always difficult to find a balance in anything, I guess.
Yeah.
Or not difficult to find the balance, but stay in the balance. The Yeah, it's helpful to be that way mostly because I don't always feel that inner chaos, but um, throughout my life, with whether it be experiences, emergency experiences at home or at work, and do remain calm, do what you've been trained to do, and people around you look to that person that's remaining calm and giving direction, and I think that's also a good thing um, for me to display, at home too, with the patience, and the calm. So it, I got off track about what the conversation.
So what happens when you don't?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Well, I get red like I am now. I'm hot. I get flushed. So let's see. Um, I get anxious inside. Jittery. Feel like I could cross that verge or threshold into a panic attack. Um, I have experienced those in the past. And anxiety. So I have to compartmentalize those during certain situations, and then try to deal with it later. So
Well, and well, in my experience, people, like I come across as balanced and peaceful and calm and whatever, and when I'm not that, it's like, no, I want the other. Like people are like, I want the other person back. It's like, not
Yes.
this one,
Yeah.
not this one, right? It's like, are you kidding me? No, you don't get to be you. You don't get to be anxious or loud or anything. Your job is this one. I'm like, yeah, no, not today.
Well, yeah. See, but I was in that role. I felt like I was in that role for a long time, you know, to feel like you have to be a certain way, and I think that it's played a very damaging role in like past relationships with me because I had a thought process that I had to be in control and present a certain way to my partner and to my family. And then the partner had that expectation that I fulfill that role. Um, so showing weakness and showing anxiousness and inability to make a decision and like any of those things that I was traditionally trying to present, um, that foot forward, and it made it difficult when I was experiencing those things past my ability to control them. And I never learned to rely on other people and open up, so it really was a detriment to past life experiences with that exact thing was, people, their expectation of who you are, so I try to tell my kids now that, and I'm open with them too, like I'm feeling anxious today, I need your help. Because I have a short fuse and it makes me worse when I have to raise my voice because you're not listening, so I tell
And
them, Daddy's already on simmer this morning, so let's take it easy.
what a great gift, right? I would tell my kids, okay, mommy monster is about to come out.
Hmm.
You keep pushing, you get what you get, right?
Yeah.
But like I was gonna just lead, like it's actually a great lead in into what made you who you are today. For example, what was your biggest challenge, or what was your biggest lesson, or what took most courage, right?
Mm.
It's that, right? It's like, can we shake ourselves off again? Like we're talking about stereotypes, or how we are viewed by other people, or how we view ourselves, right? How we free ourselves from that, right? So we set ourselves free, and
Yes.
we set others free when we let them be, right? Because sometimes we are like, it's human nature to be anxious, it's human nature to be stressed, it's human nature to be worried, it's human, right? And then yes, there's the job of how can I regulate myself to bring myself down again, but it's all normal and human emotions, right? So was there anything specific that happened that led you to being that way, like that peaceful calm, even though you don't feel it? Like, was there anything in your life that you see that happen, or maybe not? So but that's the question.
Yeah. That's that's digging deep. But this is reality. So my household, I grew up. Um, my parents are from Brooklyn, and then I grew up in Queens. Um, and then I escaped to Massachusetts when, let's see, I was about 12, and we all moved up to Massachusetts. I have a younger brother and a younger sister. So, my parents, being from that culture down there, was just, loud and argumentative, and the conflict resolution was through arguments and yelling and bullying and threats of violence, the belt. So, it wasn't terrible, but it is what it is. And that was also the time, you know. So, anyways, it's kind of a chaotic household growing up, and between me and my brother and sister, we were all high energy. and a lot to manage. And my parents, with the way they were raised, they just, it's raise your voice and argue and yell. And um, I didn't recognize it until later, but I felt like um, I didn't have a lot of peace at home. So like whenever I had the opportunity to go stay at a friend's house, I would, and stay for a week to get some quiet, And I never recognized it, but I always know that I wanted to be out. And then, I got into camping and being outdoors, and I would spend lots of time alone in the woods um, instead of being home. And then they got dirt bikes and mountain bikes, and so oh, off track. So it was a busy, loud, and poor boundaries. It was a lot for a kid in certain ways, and a lot of children would go through worse. So I had gotten out and went to the Coast Guard and moved away. And after being away for a while, I realized the immediate peace I found, I didn't even know what to do with. And at first, it felt like it made me uncomfortable because it was so peaceful, and there was no yelling, and there was no confrontation, there was no fighting over whatever, and that made me anxious because there's no, what's filling this void. And then I'd had this feeling I had to get up and do something. So it was hard to sit still, and then eventually I just learned to be in that stillness and enjoyed it for what it was. And then when I'd go home and visit family, I'd be like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. And then, like, I would go from a 0 to a 9, and then I'd become volatile, and I'd always have this underlying thing, like I was just ready to snap at all times, like because everyone else is on defense. Like I feel like you're stepping back into a war zone because you are just, your adrenaline's up, you're very defensive, and just, you're trying to be lovey-dovey with everybody, but you're just waiting for someone to pop off. And so it took, a young age, I think, I recognize that I don't have the makeup to survive in that environment, and started seeking more and more peace and ways to be calm. And then over the years, I think I've just kind of been pinballing around until I found everything seems I've had to learn the hard way. I haven't had I would have benefited from some guidance. I would have benefited from slowing down enough to get that guidance too. But I made it this far, so I'm happy.
Well, I believe all of us would benefit from some guidance, right? Emotional
Yes.
is not something that is being taught. And our parents did the best they could, might not be what we needed, but they all did the best they could with what they had and what they learned
Yes.
from their parents, and they learned from their parents, and they learned from their parents, right? And then you add every person's experience to it, and you have the perfect cocktail for for whatever, right? It's we all grew up, like for me, it was my dad. He would not blow up, he just would get really quiet, and I knew that when he gets really quiet, I tone it down, I become almost invisible, right?
Hmm.
But that was his way that he learned to cope, right? And as an empath, and I find that interesting that you went camping and all of that. It's like we need that solitude, right? We need the recharge. We need all of it to be able to be present. Somebody told me that my dad actually was an empath, was very, very empathic, and his way of dealing with that was getting angry, because when you get angry, people actually close themselves off. So he doesn't have to feel what they feel because they're closed off now, right? And I was like, wow, that is fascinating. This was just his strategy to deal
Hmm.
with life. That's, and yes, we made it mean whatever we made it mean, right? I only found out about this about, I think, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And I was like, wow, okay, I understand. It was a way of protecting himself.
Hmm.
So yeah, but it's good for you that you found your way of coping, right? That you need that quiet for you to be at your best. Just, so you can be that calm in the midst of any storm, right? Or that ear to hear.
Yeah, it's definitely one of many coping skills that I need them. We all need. We need what we need. So
absolutely, yeah. Well done.
I will touch on what you had said about learning things about your father. One thing that just actually maybe about 4 years ago, I had come across a social worker in their in my Instagram feed, and do her just justice. I'm forgetting her name right now. It's I always have. It'll come to me while we're talking. But she had written a book about how to do the work. Nicole LePera, Dr. Nicole LePera. So, and the book was How to Do the Work, and she had written some other self-help books, but she would put these little nuggets of information out, and they started to grab my interest. Until then, I subscribed to her, and then started reading them. Then I ended up getting the book. But it goes into exploring, exploring your feelings, where you're at in the moment, but really exploring where this is all rooted in. And I started reading or understanding more about generational trauma. And that was, like, I didn't experience huge trauma like other people do in that sense. But it was, violence and emotionally difficult environment. So it gave me the understanding and insight enough to understand my parents are human, and they're just me where I am now, trying to deal with 3 wild kids and my parents didn't have the background or the understanding or the insight and the education or the loving and nurturing environment growing up to be those people that I wanted them to be, so that allowed me to really process a lot of stuff and then go back to my mom and dad and verbalize, my understanding of where they were and where they're at, and tell them it's all good. I'm good. We all survived. And the only thing I could take from that is that I need to use this as an opportunity to learn and grow and be better, and give my kids the keys to build a better foundation for the next generation. So let's stop the trauma at some point. So I just got to get these girls out into the world with the least amount of therapy as they need, I guess. I'd like them to be successful and independent young ladies. So.
Right, and they will be.
Yeah.
And they will be. Yeah.
What I heard when you were talking is, and they were the perfect parents for you.
Who were the perfect parents for me?
Your parents were the perfect parents for you for what you needed to learn and who you needed to become, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh, certainly. Because those seeds were planted to drive me. So there's no growth without pain. That seems to go across the entire lifespan.
Yeah, because otherwise you won't grow, because if it's not painful, you won't do the work. So
right. Otherwise you just sit in the pain. So that
that's
doesn't do us any good.
Yeah, but if it's painful enough, you will get to do the work. Otherwise, if it's not painful, then it's just like,
exactly.
Yeah.
I can sit here. I can continue this.
So Kevin, tell us about a time you took a chance for love. It doesn't have to be romantic love, but it can be.
A chance for love. Well, I would say that right now, in my current relationship is the biggest chance I've ever taken on love. Because I have always put up a wall and compartmentalized, and I did all these things to help me get through my life and get through my job, but these are not successful tools used at home. So it's been just brutal honesty from the get-go, you know, and Amy too. Amy was just like right out of the gate. Our first date was more like, it was an interview. So she just had a, she just, she did more talking on that first date because she was just grilling me. But I appreciated that because I also don't want to be wasting my time either. You know, I know what I like, I know what I don't like. And we had, I don't know, it was just a good fit. And, you know, it could have stopped there and, I mean, or it could have, you know, or we did move on, but the difference is the communication right away, the communication, you know, because, you know, how many times has that happened to me, or did I do that to someone else? You put your best face on for somebody and in the hopes that I hope they really like me, you know. But it's the reality is like, you're okay if they don't like you. It's, you're out here just checking it out, see what's going on, you know. So we went into this relaxed, with zero expectation, and you know, hope, hey, maybe this will work out. But the honesty and courageous honesty for me, you know, and that's only something I've been using the last couple of years, was just to go so far out of my comfort zone and just say it and deal with the fallout from that, because the turmoil and inner, I can't I have a difficult time struggling or like keeping things in and dealing with them when they're they need to be out, right? That's always how the worst of my anxiety comes out, is when there's something I need to address and I'm not addressing it, I'm not talking about it, right? And then by the time I get to there, it's 1,000 times worse in my head than it ever was, you know, or my expected outcome, when could just said something in the beginning, you know, hey, I don't like this, right? I don't think this is a good idea or whatever. But and we've been able to find that right away. We were able to find that right away and reinforce that and have difficult conversations that, you know, we've had in the past that would have been spun up into a big heated argument and could have drowned out for days. But we've had those, we've learned to have difficult conversations really fast and just say, hey, this is going to work, this isn't going to work. So this is where I'm at. You know, we have hard line and we have things we can compromise with, but you got to be realistic with yourself. And Amy and I have been very fortunate that we are who we are, and we found each other when we did. And we're both at a place in our lives where we're willing to continue to evolve. And that's a conversation we have a lot too, is, you know, continue to, let's try not to stagnate and evolve emotionally and as a couple and independently. So it's this has been the most truthful, open and healing relationship I've ever experienced. It's been really nice.
Sounds quite supportive also.
Yeah.
I just, yeah, I love the safe space that you two create for each other, that you can just be vulnerable and
We do.
it's safe, you
We
know?
do.
It takes something from each of you to create that space for the other one to know that it's safe to say what you need to say, and I'm gonna not react to it, right? I'm just gonna let you say what you need to say, and then we'll work it out. It's really beautiful. Really, really beautiful.
I need that to be the person who I want to be. And so does Amy.
Need that to be the people we need to be. It's whether we're willing to give ourselves that is the question, right?
Yeah.
And you know, you were saying, yes, it creates anxiety. It always creates anxiety when we have to address something that is maybe not working for us, and we have to have those tough conversations. It creates anxiety in everyone.
Mm,
It's just like some people show it less, or some people address it quicker, or you know, some people procrastinate more. But it's always because it's whenever, like, that's the discomfort. But again, you know, like, the discomfort that is going to have us grow, right? That's what we were talking about before. It's that
mm,
oh, can I have this conversation? Can I say what I need? Can I say, you know, can I say what I need? Essentially, it's like, can I share myself fully?
right, right. Well, I guess you always have those um, feelings holding you back because you're afraid of the repercussions or the response.
Right.
You know, so when you have that space where you can share that, it's really freeing. It's amazing, you know, and it doesn't have to be correct either. It just is. Let me say what I have to say, and then we can pick apart the crazy and figure out the rest. You know, so it's good.
So it's good stuff.
Yeah, two people that don't respond. Um, you know, volatile. You know, there's no volatility with our conversations, so it's good. We're able to get through it, you know, and the more and more we do it, the easier it is. So it's not a difficult thing. Like, we just pop into a conversation, get it done with, and be done.
And as you said, it's a practice, right? It's a
Yeah.
practice, and the more you do it, the easier it gets. And you know, you were talking about, you know, those thoughts we have about whatever, right? But we never think about, well, if I don't do it, we think about, if I do it, then they're going to be upset, and then this, and then that, and blah, 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 and drama. But we never think about, well, if I don't have this conversation, what's the result? What's the repercussion then? Right?
Right.
Um, which is usually so much more damaging than if we actually do have the conversation. Like, if we don't do it, we lose a part of ourselves. We, like, there's so much that gets lost in there. So that's extremely powerful. So, so let me ask you this: if you had a magic wand and you could give people any quality, what would it be and why?
That's a tough one. Um, I mean,
And you
well,
can
because
have more than one.
I'd seen the question, I had thought about it, and I just don't.
You can have more than one if
I
you
can
want.
add more than one. uh, More love and kindness would probably go a long way, and empathy. You know, I find that makes a big difference. Just being able to get out of your own head and understand where someone else is coming from. So, because it would be my quick and easy answer to that. I think that goes a long way. It really, you know, when you can slow down and just think about what's going on.
The empathy part, right? Walking in somebody else's shoes, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
maybe they didn't yell at me because they were pissed off at me, but because my example is always because their shoes were too small, right? We don't know, right? We just make up stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So it's yeah.
Mm. The world would be a better place with definitely more empathy and kindness and love for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So,
we could keep it going on that list with
oh yeah,
politicians and
lots of lots of good stuff we could add to the list.
yeah.
So
So,
I know you talked about camping and all this stuff to create calm. What else recharges your batteries? What do you do to fill up so you have to give and stay calm and with all the people in your world?
um,
Do you have daily practices like yoga or breath work, or what's your?
I was using yoga a lot until recently. The last few months, I tore meniscus in my knee, so I haven't been able to barely walk. So like some days I have to use a cane, and some days I can walk. So a lot of my like the yoga has really been taken away. So, which is very unfortunate because I need it, because it's the benefits to my body are fantastic. But I don't. I meditate every night. When I go to bed, I have a routine. I'll put on meditation music, and that's how I end the day. And I don't know. I mean, just being outside really is always like I always recharge. I get outside, I'll let the dog out, and just stand out there. And gratitude. Try to practice that a lot. Got a lot to be grateful for. So I like to, bike ride and just hiking. I got a lot of walking trails and stuff around here. Can't use them right now, but I'm looking forward to getting back on them. And I do belong to a sportsman club that I like to go and participate at.
Ooh, how cool.
Yeah, it's fun. It's just like an outdoor archery range and like a course through the woods you can hike, and have 3D targets. So it's a good way to get out and stretch the legs.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Really cool.
So this question wasn't in the ones that we sent you, but
Mm-hmm.
so curious about it. So what is your definition of success? What do you consider as you being successful? I guess that's the question.
My definition of success right now is keeping a good balance at home in life with work. I unashamedly devote all my time to the kids right now. Even when it comes to work, no overtime. I only get this, we only get the shot once, and I'm not gonna be the coolest guy around forever. So when they go off to college, and I can delve into other things.
I have a feeling you're always going to be the coolest dad to them.
I hope so, but they'll move on to other stuff, so I won't always have to be on duty 24/7, I guess.
Yeah.
Which I love to be. So.
And we love that you love to be.
It's the best job I've had so far. That was the best thing I've ever done, I will say, is when my girls were babies. Moved to second shift and went down to part-time or per diem, and would stay home with them every day, and their mom went back to work. And that was just great. It was great. I was able to build a really great bond with my daughters. And we went mobile. I'd stick them in a little kid backpack, and one in the back, one in the front, and off we'd go. So hiking.
So for those who can't see Kevin, his face is just lit up as he talks about this time with his kids. So for those who can't see it, talking about your children just lights you up, and it's really beautiful.
I share it with any dad I can. If they can stay home, stay home.
So good. So last question.
Yes.
What is the legacy you want to leave? What do you want people to remember about you?
He's a great person. Lots of love.
Yeah.
Lots of love.
for the gift you are. Being here.
But thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you so much for spending this time with us today. Thank you for sharing your beautiful story and your passion for being a dad with us, because it is truly inspiring to see. Thank you everyone for listening today. If you loved what you heard, please share with your friends. Please leave us a review. If you want to know more about Martina or myself, you can find our information on our Linktree profiles with the notes. Please remember, you are extraordinary and you rock. Until next time, have a wonderful day.
Bye for now. Kevin, you get to finish it up for us.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you for listening. And thank you, ladies, for taking the time to sit down with me. It was my pleasure to speak with you both.